The nation is waking up to the news of a sweeping relief measure that has just been signed into law, a measure that promises to put money directly into the hands of millions of American families and seniors. The $3,600 Trump relief bill has become a headline across every major network, not only because of its size, but because of the speed with which it is expected to impact ordinary households. At a time when many are struggling with rising costs, uncertain employment, and persistent economic anxieties, the promise of relief checks landing soon is more than just a policy, it is hope materialized. Families are watching closely, seniors are waiting expectantly, and policymakers are already debating what ripple effects this will have on the broader economy. The central feature of the bill is the direct payments. At $3,600, the checks represent one of the largest single relief efforts of its kind. For families, the payments will be a lifeline, helping with groceries, utility bills, and overdue rent. For seniors living on fixed incomes, the money could mean better access to medication, the ability to cover healthcare expenses, or simply the chance to breathe a little easier without the shadow of financial strain looming so heavily. Analysts are quick to point out that the bill's structure also sets it apart from past relief packages. It has provisions designed to speed up the delivery of funds, cutting bureaucratic delays, and allowing recipients to see the benefits within weeks rather than months. Behind the scenes, the bill has stirred debate across the political spectrum. Supporters hail it as decisive action, an effort that cuts through gridlock and demonstrates leadership in a moment of national need. Critics, however, warn of inflationary pressure, arguing that flooding the economy with billions in direct aid could exacerbate the very price increases that families are struggling with. Yet despite the objections, the momentum behind the measure was strong enough to ensure its passage and eventual signing. For the White House, it represents a moment of political victory, but for the people on the ground, the more pressing matter is when the checks will arrive and how they can be used to stabilize daily life. Economic experts are divided but acknowledge one common reality. Direct relief has an immediate psychological effect on the public. Even before a single check is cashed, families feel a surge of confidence knowing that help is on the way. This sense of security often translates into renewed consumer activity, which in turn helps stimulate local businesses. A parent who had been postponing car repairs may now feel comfortable scheduling them. A retiree worried about making ends meet may feel safe in stocking up on essentials. These small choices, multiplied across millions of households, create a ripple effect that could provide much-needed energy to an economy that has shown signs of strain. Still, questions remain about how the relief will be implemented. Treasury officials have announced that distribution mechanisms are already in place, with most payments expected to be delivered via direct deposit. Those without direct deposit information on file will receive checks in the mail, though that process may take slightly longer. For some, the memory of previous relief efforts brings concern about delays, technical glitches, or missing payments. In response, officials insist that lessons from the past have been learned and that safeguards are in place to prevent widespread issues. Whether this confidence proves justified will be revealed in the coming weeks as the first wave of payments begins. The broader political implications of the bill are also being closely examined. For supporters of the administration, this is an opportunity to highlight swift action and responsiveness to the struggles of everyday Americans. For opponents, it is a chance to argue that the government is taking a short-term approach to what they consider long-term economic challenges. Regardless of the perspective, one fact is undeniable. The American people are eager for relief, and the $3,600 payments represent one of the most direct and tangible forms of assistance that the federal government can provide. The measure will likely become a defining moment in the political narrative of the year. Families across the country are already doing the math. A single parent with 2 children imagines how the money could cover rent for a couple of months and still leave enough for school supplies. A retired couple looks forward to paying off lingering medical bills that have been hanging over them since last year. Young workers, many of whom are burdened by rising housing costs, see the payment as a chance to catch up on overdue obligations or to build a small financial cushion. In each case, the relief is more than a check. It is a step toward stability, a reassurance that someone is listening, and that action is being taken. The story is also playing out on Wall Street, where investors are watching closely to gauge how the influx of cash will influence markets. Consumer spending is a powerful driver of growth, and an injection of billions of dollars into households could spark renewed demand in key sectors. Retailers are hopeful, restaurants are preparing for an uptick in customers, and service industries anticipate a short-term boom. Yet cautious voices warn that the relief could be offset by inflationary dynamics if supply chains remain constrained or if demand spikes too sharply. Balancing these forces will be critical in determining the true impact of the bill on the overall economy. As the ink dries on the newly signed legislation, conversations around kitchen tables, office break rooms, and community centers are dominated by one question: how soon will the money arrive? Officials have hinted at a rapid timeline, suggesting that most direct deposits could hit accounts within a matter of weeks, possibly even days for those whose information is already on file with the Internal Revenue Service. This accelerated pace marks a sharp contrast to some past relief efforts, where logistical hurdles caused long delays and frustration among recipients. By prioritizing efficiency, the administration hopes to avoid a repeat of those missteps and deliver tangible results quickly. For seniors, who often live on limited and predictable monthly incomes, the $3,600 payments promise a rare reprieve. Many retirees have seen their savings stretched thin by rising medical costs, higher utility bills, and the lingering effects of inflation on essentials like groceries. Advocacy groups representing older Americans have already celebrated the measure as a crucial victory, pointing out that financial stress among seniors often goes unnoticed until it reaches a breaking point. In their view, the relief bill is not just about economics, but about dignity, allowing older citizens to feel secure and valued in their later years. Families, too, are looking forward to the relief with cautious optimism. Parents are planning to use the funds for school supplies, childcare, and even long-delayed family outings. Social workers and nonprofit leaders argue that the bill will reduce immediate pressures on low-income households, potentially preventing evictions, hunger, and financial collapse. However, they also warn that one-time payments, while immensely helpful, cannot replace long-term structural changes. These dual perspectives, gratitude for the immediate help and recognition of ongoing needs, frame the broader conversation about what role government should play in stabilizing family life. Beyond the direct recipients, small businesses are poised to benefit indirectly from the bill's ripple effect. When households receive an unexpected financial boost, much of that money circulates back into local economies. Restaurant owners anticipate fuller tables, clothing retailers expect increased traffic, and service providers such as mechanics, salons, and landscapers are preparing for a potential surge in demand. Economists describe this as the multiplier effect. A single dollar given to a family can pass through multiple hands, generating more economic activity than its face value suggests. This dynamic, they argue, underscores why relief bills often serve not only as social policy but as economic stimulus. At the same time, critics remain vocal. Some fiscal conservatives contend that injecting such a large sum into the economy risks worsening inflation, already a source of concern for millions of Americans. Others worry about the long-term implications for the federal deficit, arguing that short-term gains may come at the cost of future financial stability. These arguments, while valid in the abstract, are often drowned out by the immediate reality faced by households struggling to make ends meet. For them, the debate over macroeconomic risks pales in comparison to the concrete benefits of an extra $3,600 in their bank accounts. Media coverage reflects this divide, with networks highlighting both the joy of ordinary Americans and the skepticism of financial experts. Interviews with recipients often feature expressions of relief, gratitude, and even tears of joy, while roundtable discussions among analysts focus on interest rates, bond markets, and fiscal responsibility. This dual narrative ensures that the bill will remain a central topic in the public discourse for weeks, if not months, to come. The challenge for policymakers will be balancing the immediate human need with the broader economic consequences. Political strategists are also watching closely. Relief bills have historically carried significant electoral implications, shaping public perception of leadership competence and empathy. For the administration, delivering these payments on time and without widespread errors could bolster confidence among voters. For the opposition, any hiccup, whether in distribution, oversight, or economic fallout, presents an opportunity to criticize and capitalize on frustration. As such, the $3,600 Trump relief bill is not just about economics or governance. It is also about narrative, image, and the contest for public trust. For individuals on the ground, however, politics is secondary. A mother working two jobs simply wants to keep the lights on. A grandfather raising grandchildren looks forward to putting food on the table without constant worry. A young couple saddled with debt sees a chance to finally catch up. These personal stories humanize the abstract numbers and projections that dominate policy debates. They remind everyone, politicians, economists, and commentators alike, that behind every statistic are real people navigating real struggles. As the first checks begin to roll out, the nation will collectively hold its breath, watching to see whether the promises match the reality. Success will be measured not in speeches or headlines, but in the relief felt at dinner tables, in grocery aisles, and at pharmacy counters. The true test of the bill will not be its passage, but its impact, how it shapes the lived experiences of families and seniors across the country. If it succeeds, it may be remembered as a pivotal moment of decisive action. If it falters, it could become a cautionary tale about ambition and execution. In the end, the $3,600 Trump relief bill symbolizes more than financial aid. It represents the intersection of policy and people, of politics and daily life. It captures the urgency of a nation searching for stability and the responsibility of leaders to respond to that call. While economists crunch numbers and politicians strategize over outcomes, ordinary Americans are preparing for a simple but profound change. The knowledge that help is not just promised but arriving soon, and that for a brief moment, the burden of survival will feel a little lighter.